bit of it gets the same amount of attention. With this wealth of important yet often overlooked events in our local community, our team has chosen option 2 from the RFP so that we can better memorialize the events and effects of the 1901 Jacksonville Fire. Hi, I'm Jacob Denson, and I'm the project manager for our team. The 1901 fire was a significant event in Jacksonville's history, and yet for being the 3rd largest fire in the U.S. overall, it is seldom heard about for most people in Jacksonville. This lack of attention extends to the existing memorials we found in Jacksonville, which we feel do not emphasize or explain the important impact this event has had on Jacksonville's development. So, following the outline for option 2, we plan to create an open memorial park setting, which will showcase the events of the fire and how Greater Jacksonville rose from the ashes. And it will also serve as a location where the community can come together, just like they did 121 years ago.
Hi, I'm Amber Estia, and I'm the historian for our project. So, the Great Fire of 1901 started in downtown Jacksonville on May 3rd at about 12:20 p.m. and spread quickly eastward because of the current drought and high winds of the area. It wasn't put out until later that evening at about 8 p.m., but not before destroying over 2,000 buildings and houses. So, along with the events of the fire, one thing we would like to commemorate in our memorial are the heroes of the fire, including Andrew Carnegie and Henry Cludo, 2 people that had contributed to the rebuilding after attack of the fire, the Bell Telephone Gang and Jacksonville Fire Department, 2 groups that had taken valiant stands against the fire, and Arthur Cumber, who had taken his boat out onto the St. Johns River and helped several people escape the fire.
Hi, my name is Simar Gilshan, and I was in charge of site planning for our project. The site we decided to go with is Metropolitan Park, located on Gator Boulevard, right across the street from the Jackson Driver Stadium. The reason we decided to go with this park is because it has many benefits to it. One of them being is that it's located in a busy area where we'll never lack visitors. Now, some of the other benefits is that it already has existing utilities, such as water, sewage, and electrical, as you can see right on this map. And finally, our site is slightly elevated 5 feet above the sites around it. So if the sites around you do get flooded, which obviously is a problem here in Florida, our park will stay mostly dry with only the outside part being flooded.
Hi, I'm Garrett Albert, as a lead designer for the project. Our goal of this project is to transform the park into something that was a really immersive fun experience. So in this experience, we will add many things. One thing we're going to be adding initially are the bathrooms in the parking lot. So you can come here, you can stay a while, you don't have to leave the site to go find out. Also, thing we're going to be adding like each beauty really add to the park. As we turn around here to the right, as we turn around here to the right, you can see we're adding benches and other trees and stuff to really add the park. Here are an example of the signs that we will use. We will go and talk about this thing. These will be an example of how we will talk about it. And as you can see here, as we turn tonight, we will be adding solar powered lights to keep with sustainability and so that way the park is safe here tonight. Another thing we'd be adding is more bathrooms and a playground. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I know how it can be when they get older. It's nice to have a place where they can be with them. And as we turn here, you can see our main signs and some more flowers and plants here. And as we turn, we can see each of our memorial that will be the center of our park. Our memorial is used to represent the rebuilding of Jacksonville. As you can see on the outsides, there are it's supposed to represent the buildings being built up from the ashes into a complete room in the middle. And how everybody came together exactly like they did, like Jacob said earlier, 120 years ago.
I'm Ryan Agal, and I'm the landscape architect. I chose a color scheme to represent the fire. For example, the vivid red and yellow on the coral honeysuckle vine, which is great for climbing the road. I also chose native and resilient plants like the crepe myrtle tree that is colorful year round. Being on the St. John's, the salt tolerance needs to be high, like the beach sunflower, which is great for ground coverage. Now our pond will be about 7,000 square feet, and we'll have a fountain. It will be about 8 to 9 feet deep, since the required depth for a fountain is 6 feet. We'll have a reinforced polyethylene pond lining.
Hi, I'm Ingrid Sirocco, and I'm overseeing teaching history and the cost estimate. For teaching history, as Garrett mentioned earlier, we'll have 10 signs throughout the park. These signs will be divided into 2 categories, one teaching the heroes of the fire and the other with the timeline of the fire. We want to teach history in an exciting and interactive way. We don't want our visitors to be overwhelmed with the knowledge of the 1901 fire. It is also important to note that our signs are fully collapsible as there are high wind speeds in Jacksonville, and we do not want to cause damage to our property or anyone else's.
While the main goal of our site is to memorialize the events and effects of the fire, we also want the location to serve as a hub where the local community can come together and meet ways. We intentionally chose an open park-like setting so that the open landscape could be used to hold local events, rallies, or ceremonies.
Our costs are divided into three main categories: exterior costs, interior costs, and utility costs. Our exterior costs are the highest of the three, as we built a park setting. Our interior costs are relatively low, as we only created three main structures: 2 restrooms and 1 bus stop. These 2 restrooms are also the source of much of our utility costs. This leaves us with a grand total of around $650,000.
Hi, I'm Ken Hooker, and I was in charge of the construction scheduling for our project. I estimate our project will take around 3 to 4 months from start to finish. Before we begin, we will need to acquire the permits necessary to build. Once we have these, we can begin demo work, and we will dig the pond, fill it, and lay the foundations for our buildings. Once the foundations are laid, we can build the bathrooms and the gazebos and deliver the memorial onto its foundation. After this, the sidewalks will be poured, and all the stuff needed for our playground, such as swing sets and mulch, will be delivered. All maintenance, such as electrical and plumbing, will be completed, and the lighting will be installed around our park. After some final landscaping and the delivery of our signs, benches, picnic tables, and trash cans, our park will be finished.
We've gained a lot of experience from our work on the project. We've all learned how to be more cohesive as a team and work through delays and setbacks. We've dealt with many problems throughout our project, such as delays on mostly the Revit model, but overall, I am so happy with the end result we got. And I think it goes without saying that none of this could have been accomplished without the excellent work of my teammates. Thank you. At the beginning, we weren't sure what kind of layout we wanted, and so what we did was we basically printed out pictures of the site, and we all sort of drew our own designs, and then we all came together, picked the parts that worked out well, and sort of matched them together. And things changed quite a bit, and it took a while for us to settle on a final design. But once we did some AutoCAD drawings, and then we translated it to Revit, and Garrett did an amazing job making it look so pretty.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I was certified Revit before this as a user, but I got to learn a lot more about how multiple big projects work together, because I've only really worked on small projects. So we use multiple projects and pasted them into a bigger project to get this. We got to learn about Enscape, which is what we actually use for the rendering software, and that was a lot of fun. To be honest, when we first got the Enscape, it was really late because it took me a long time to download, and it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And so I was like sitting there at like 1 a.m. I'm like, I had a school day tomorrow. Sorry, Dad. And I was sitting there flying around looking at their site. It was cool. And then like, I don't know. We have to wait to start that time. I can talk about that forever.
Good. In your Revit, in your model, I like how it went from light to dark. You can see the lights come up. Can we get a little bit more detail on the lighting for the project, what the power source is going to be?
Yeah, if you want to go a little farther, we should pass that. Yeah, pass like, nope, pass the reflection.
Pass, yeah.
Yep, keep going, right. There you go. So what we plan to do, we found lights that would be solar powered. So this way, if we needed to at night, we can hook them to the grid, but they would be self-sustaining and would light up the park correctly. I know it's important for me to have a safe well at the park in Jacksonville, because safety is a huge thing. And personally, I'll be completely honest with you, a little scared of the dark. So I do have to put in some lights to keep it safe for everybody involved there.
Moving to estimating budgeting. Actually, no. You said 3 to 4 months construction schedule?
Yeah.
Okay. Any labor concerns? People to do it next week?
We didn't have much of that. We chose, it was a lesser like time estimate because we have 2 buildings, just the bathrooms and the gazebo. Most of our project is based around like the land and incorporating it into the already like into a park setting. So we just had the foundations and that it wouldn't take as much time as, say, like a building for a hotel or something.
I had a question about safety. You addressed it with the lighting, but, with the pond setting close to the playground, how do you plan to protect, users of the park from that?
So, I totally honest, I'm gonna bring that up. But in the pond, we'd have bushes around surrounding the whole pond. So then that way, first, obviously, it's hard to get over that. And then also too, we were thinking about adding a little short, fence near the playground, so then that way, I don't wanna say kids can't escape, because that sounds wrong, but, so then kids are contained to an area. Because that's legitimate concern, we did think about that.
So you would fence the playground rather than fence specifically with something around the pond?
Yes, that would be the hope, because so that way, the hope is that you're, a family will be going around, so you'd be able to track there, so less keeping track of the playground, will be all in one area, for that.
And I just had one more question about the playground design. So was there any, interest in maybe creating a playground that spoke to the history as well, or to the event? Or was it just kind of you wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for playground space on the park?
We just wanted to make sure there's an opportunity for playground space. I think it's kind of a function thinking going forward, that would be something that we would look into. I was doing research for this project, and I was kind of looking into the site recently, and, I'm not originally from Jacksonville, I have some Jacksonville long enough to know, there was a place called, Children's Urban Care Center.
Thank you.
And we were actually thinking about making a playground that was sort of themed with the historical events, but we decided to go with just a generic playground setup, just for like ease of model making. We didn't want to like seek a bunch of